2 Unlimited is a dance project founded in 1991 by Belgian producers Jean-Paul DeCoster and Phil Wilde and fronted by Dutch rapper Ray Slijngaard and Dutch vocalist Anita Doth. During 5 years of enormous worldwide popularity, the act scored 16 chart hits, including Get Ready for This, Twilight Zone, No Limit, and Tribal Dance. During their career, they have sold 18 million records worldwide. Although they enjoyed less mainstream recognition in the United States, many of their songs have become popular themes at U.S. sporting events, particularly in the NHL. History. Formation. Jean-Paul DeCoster and Phil Wilde met in their hometown of Antwerp, Belgium, and their first collaboration under the name of Business resulted in a single called Don't Miss the Party Line, which entered the top 10 in the UK. The two then decided to continue to work together. Jean-Paul DeCoster and Phil Wilde initially had created an instrumental track they called Get Ready for This, and they decided that it needed some vocals. DeCoster recalls, "They were so pleased with the result that they agreed to work with them as a duo, and thus 2 Unlimited was born." Get Ready. They were signed to Byte Records and were licensed to many other record labels worldwide, including PWL Continental in the UK, ZYX in Germany, Switzerland and Austria, Scorpio in France etc. Their first single, Get Ready for This, was well received in their home market, the Netherlands, where it managed to peak at number 10. It also peaked at number 8 in Belgium, and managed to climb to number 2 in Australia and the UK. The single worked its way up to number 38 on the US Billboard Hot 100 chart only 3 after its original release. A follow-up single, Twilight Zone, followed in January 1992, which topped the chart in the Netherlands. It also charted well in numerous markets including number 2 in the UK. In the United States, it peaked at number 49 on the Hot 100. To capitalize on this success, the album Get Ready was released on February 24, 1992, which featured the first 2 singles and 7 other brand new tracks including 2 ballads. 2 further singles were released from the album, Workaholic, and The Magic Friend. In the US, the album received a gold certification for sales of 500,000 units in 1995. No Limits. 2 Unlimited's lead single, No Limit from the act's second album, was released in January 1993, and the repetitive nature of the song helped it become their most successful single ever, and by far the best remembered by the general public even now. The single topped the charts in Austria, Belgium, Finland, France, Ireland, the Netherlands, Norway, Sweden, Switzerland, and in the United Kingdom. In Germany, the single was certified platinum for sales of 500,000 units. The track received modest airplay in North American radio stations, reaching the top 25 in the US dance charts. By 1996, worldwide sales for the single No Limit had reached 2.3 million units. Tribal Dance was released as a single shortly before the album No Limits hit the stores in May 1993. The Tribal Dance was very successful, also entering the top 5 in Austria, Australia, Belgium, France, Germany, Norway, Sweden, Switzerland and in the UK. In Germany, Tribal Dance was certified gold for sales of over 250,000 units. 3 further singles were issued from the second album, Faces, which was considerably different in pace to previous releases, Maximum Overdrive, and a re-recorded version of Let the Beat Control Your Body. In France, the title was changed to Let the Bass Control Your Body to avoid any confusion with the slang word bite. The full-length album, entitled No Limits, was more successful than the predecessor, entering the top 5 album charts in Austria, Australia, Germany, the Netherlands, Norway, Sweden, Switzerland. In the UK, the album climbed all the way to the top of the album chart. By 1996, the album's total sales had reached 3 million units, including 592,000 units in the GSA region. Despite their phenomenal success in the UK the duo were enjoying, they were criticised heavily by the music industry, and the British press dubbed them too untalented. Real Things. In May 1994, The duo's 10th single The Real Thing was released, and it proved that their fans were still interested as they sent the single to #1 in their home market, the Netherlands, as well as into the top 5 in Belgium, Germany and Norway. While their third album, called Real Things, shot to #1 in the Netherlands and the UK, it also managed to land in the top 5 in Austria, Germany, Norway, Sweden and Switzerland. The album was certified gold in the UK for sales of over 100,000 units. Real Things was their first album that the UK label, PWL, made no changes to. In 1994, 2 Unlimited had their biggest audience ever, performing in front of 500,000 people. Their second single, No One, despite being a straightforward pop record, didn't prevent their fans from sending it to #2 in the Netherlands on the sales chart. In March 1995, while their follow-up single, Here I Go, was another top 5 hit in their homeland, their commercial success seemed to be declining elsewhere as the single made it in the top 20 only in Austria, Belgium and Sweden. The fourth and final single was the ballad Nothing Like the Rain, which was not quite as successful and did not receive a release in many territories including the UK release. Hits Unlimited In October 1995, 2 Unlimited released their first compilation album Hits Unlimited, prompting rumours that they were about to split up. The first single, Do What's Good For Me from the album, entered the top 5 in Finland, and the top 20 in the Netherlands and the UK. Despite their insistence that they were planning a world tour, in April 1996, shortly after the release of the single Jump for Joy, both Slijngaard and Doth announced that 2 Unlimited was over. It later emerged that after having spent so much time together they were no longer getting on as well as they once had, and there was disagreement about the future sound of 2 Unlimited. They had asked for more creative input, and they also felt that they were not getting a fair share of the huge amount of money being earned by the project. As no agreement was reached, they each went their separate ways before a final single, Spread Your Love, was released in June 1996. As they still owned the rights to the name 2 Unlimited, DeCoster and Wilde recruited 2 new singers, Romy van Eugen and Marjan van Iwaarden, in order to capitalize on previous success. Wanna Get Up did well in the Netherlands, reaching #10, and the single, which was remixed by Sash for UK release, reached #38. The album, too, was released in April 1998. It was not as successful as previous studio albums, nor were the subsequent singles Edge of Heaven and Never Surrender. In 1999, both Van Eugen and Van Iwaarden left 2 Unlimited. Remixes. In 2000, Byte Records released the remix singles No Limit and Twilight Zone. A remix album was to be released that year, but some master tapes were stolen from Byte and taken to Russia, where they were released as a bootleg compilation. Also in this year, 2 Unlimited made their first appearance on the Eurodance compilation Dancermania series, specifically its Speed sub-series, with their song Twilight Zone SB4's R-Beat mix. In 2001, Byte finally released its Greatest Hits remixes, featuring many new remixes. Some of the remixes from the stolen master tapes released in Russia were not included. The album was released solely in Japan. In 2002, Trance Remixes Special Edition was released in Japan, featuring many more new remixes not included in the previous compilation. In recent years, many best-of compilations have been released in various territories, often with new remixes. Most notably, ZYX Records released No Limit 2.3 in 2003, and it was a moderate hit, reaching #41 in the German singles chart. It was promoted by a new duo, Copyright Bora Ramajan and James Giscombe. They were being lined up as a 2 Unlimited version 3. They still perform, mainly in Eastern Europe, although are not allowed to use their own voices. This due to copyright issues. A new CD and DVD set containing all the duo's video clips called The Complete History was released in 2004, along with a single, Tribal Dance 2.4. 2005 saw the release of the refreshed album in Mexico featuring stunning artwork, but the same remixes found on previous remix albums. In 2006, the DVD was repackaged with a different CD, Greatest Remix Hits, which was released in Australia. The following years would see this package re-released in Argentina, Denmark, Sweden, Asia and South Africa. Reunions having both continued to perform their old hits separately in nightclubs and university student unions around the world, the original performers Slijngaard and Dutch reunited on April 11, 2009, to perform together for the first time in 13 years at the I Love the 90s concert in Hasselt, Belgium. According to a radio interview with Slijngaard, Jean-Paul DeCoster did not give permission for the duo to perform under the name Too Unlimited. However, Phil Wilde attended the gig and provided help with preparing backing tracks. On April 30, 2009, Slijngaard and Dutch performed 5 songs at the Radio 538 Queen's Day concert at Museumplein in Amsterdam. On June 8, they were awarded Most Popular Act of the 1990s, based on number of weeks in the Dutch Top 40, and on September 25, they performed as a support act for Milk Incorporated at the Sportpaleis in Antwerp. On December 29, 2009, it was announced that the duo would release a new single in 2010 called In the Name of Love, as Ray and Anita. It was released as a CD single in the Netherlands through Spinnin' Records on January 22, 2010. It reached number 6 on the Dutch Top 40 sales chart. On April 30, 2010, a new single was presented during the Dutch Queen's Day called Still Unlimited. In July 2011, Ray and Anita invited fans to be part of the video for Nothing to Lose in Amsterdam. Fans applied via email and were selected randomly. The video with the fans was shot on July 28. The single was released at the end of August 2011. The single is also the lead tracks for the film soundtrack of Amsterdam Heavy. In the same month, Ray and Anita headlined the I Love the 90s stage at Tomorrowland in Belgium. Comeback. On July 11, 2012, it was announced that Ray and Anita would be working again with a Belgian producer, DeCoster, under the name Too Unlimited. On March 30, 2013, Slijngaard and Dutch performed their first full concert as Too Unlimited with their band in Belgium at Antwerp Sportpaleis. The duo released a remixed version of their very first single, Get Ready for This, on October 28, 2013. The song has been remixed by DJ Steve Aoki and was included on their Greatest Hits album. In 2014, Too Unlimited gave concerts at 10 festivals that together made up Acceleration 2014, which combined top-class car and bike racing with music and entertainment. Discography: Get Ready, No Limits, Real Things, To Wanna Get Up. References: External links: Too Unlimited, a Euro official website, biography from the Eurodance Encyclopedia, Too Unlimited on Discogs, Too Unlimited on Hyperreal.